So what did it look like then, fall of 2012? What was the company looking like in 2 years?
Well, it was exciting because then they came on both as part of the business, and what was cool also, we met through running, but also they're passionate about the sport and follow the elite side of the sport. So in 2012, they invited me to come down to the Olympic trials in Eugene, which if you follow running at all is like track and field mecca. It's track town, and it's Olympic year this year too, so it'll be there again in July, but it's kind of like, I mean, it's insanity. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
So we went down to that, and then at that point, we had like kind of been thinking about pro athletes, and could we sign a pro athlete to Oiselle, and oh my God, we can't afford it, but oh, it's so cool to think about, you know, it's just like, so in the fall of 2012, we were on the verge of signing Lauren Fleshman, our first pro athlete, and yeah, so we were definitely in like a better place, but still pretty small.
And so how did you get like, who was the famous one? Kara
Goucher.
Kara Goucher.
Yeah.
From, she was a Nike sponsored.
Yeah.
Right? How
both
did you
Lauren and Kara were.
How did you get them from I mean,
Yeah.
no offense, but Nike, Oiselle. Nike, Oiselle. I mean, that's a...
Yeah. Although if you heard her personal story, which I won't tell because it's her personal story, you would know that Nike doesn't necessarily treat their athletes very well.
Yeah.
So, and that's an industry problem that I think also that Oiselle can play a role in terms of supporting women, of writing contracts that are healthy for women, and not just when they're running fast, but when they do other things like have babies. So the long and the short of it is that Kara had been not well treated by Nike, was basically dying to get out.
Yeah.
And
so you have the right place, right time.
yeah, I mean, she'd been with them for over 10 years, and so that's a good amount of time to tell you what it's like to work with people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was again one of those unlikely scenarios. I was like, oh my God, there's no way we could sign Kara Goucher. But as we got to know each other and as we figured it out, she just really wanted to go a new direction, and with a company that that she felt here, as opposed to.
And how do you pick your sponsored athletes? I mean, how do you do that? I mean, I've never done it. I'm sure who's ever done that? None of us. Right? So how do you I want that person on my team? I mean, obviously you tell them benefits, but how do you choose that person versus that person or that person?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, and we've actually talked about it a lot. We have a little bit of a filter that we put people through in terms of, because back to the way Nike evaluates athletes, they really only want you to run fast, and that's it. It's about the numbers, and then they don't really want you to be an individual or to express anything. They kind of want to package it and control it. But we like to look at athletes in terms of a couple of other things. We look at an athlete's audience, like how well do they connect with their own community around them, regardless of who they're running with. And then also their ability to tell their story. So for women in particular, we I think people in general, but women take a lot of inspiration from seeing the whole woman's story. Like, so yeah, you're a world-class athlete, but how do you deal with being a mom? How do you deal with, other stresses in your life, whether that's, other work you have to do over here, or helping your family, or travel, or whatnot. And so we really want athletes that have a full story and are able to tell it, because you know what? A lot of fast athletes can't tell their story. Yeah. And they might be crazy fast on the track, but if you're only fast, Oiselle's not really that interesting.
So here's a point that everyone should take a good note of. And where was I at? I don't know where I was at in the last 3 or 4 days talking about this, but you need to be able to tell your story. So if you can't tell your story, start over and find another product or service or whatever so you can tell your story. Because you have to be able to tell your story. Whether you're the engineer or the salesperson or the bottle washer, it doesn't matter. You've got to be able to tell a story of your company, or you're SOL. Because you've got to be able to communicate that to an investor, to an employee or a potential employee or a potential sponsored athlete. You have to be able to tell the story. And if you can't tell your story, you either work on your story or work on your product. One of the two is wrong, because it needs to come out, right? And so I think it's just that storytelling is just so super critical.
Yeah, no, I think